Hey guys, hello from here. Thank you very much for interacting with my page. I've seen a lot of positive feedbacks from my last video, and today I would like to teach you how to design a table in Figma. Not just a table, but a responsive table using auto layouts from the beginning to the end. So let's get right into it. So whenever you want to design a table in Figma, the first thing you should do is create your text and nest it inside an auto layout so it would be responsive. So the first thing I'll do is I'll tap letter T on my keyboard, and I'm going to click anywhere on my screen to create the first text. So let's say this is transaction title. You guys can see my text here, transaction title. I'm going to make it a body text, which is 14, and I'll nest it inside an auto layout, shift A. So yeah, my text is now inside an auto layout. My auto layout height, I'm going to make it 50 for the sake of spacing up and down, and I'm also going to give it a fill. I love making my header a subtle shade of the primary color. So since my primary color is blue, I'll make it the primary color first. Then I'll detach the instance and drop this to like 6%. Very, very subtle. Yeah. Then I'll duplicate it down here, which is going to hold the normal information. So this one, I'll change it to white background. The text inside, I'll change it to black. Yes. So this text as the header text, I'm going to make it a little bit bold. At least the header should be more prominent than the main information. I'll detach it from here and just make it medium. While this one, I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit. Appearance, I'll just drop the appearance to 80% opacity. Yes, very subtle. So I highlight both auto layouts and make them one auto layout again, shift A. Yes, that's how to do it. Then you reduce the spacing to 0. So now I've created the first master element, my header and my information. But we can't see this very well because my background is black, so I'm going to create a white background behind it. I'll tap F for frame, and I'll just drag a frame over it here to put a frame behind it. You guys can see it very well now. So my header text here, I'll also make it black, and this second one is white. Yes, awesome. But I want it to be full white, so I'm going to take it back to FFF. Yes, so now I have my header and I have my main contents. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to duplicate this to the side. Hold your shift and your alt key while you drag to the side. It depends on how many columns you want to have in your table. So let's say, for example, I want to have maybe 4 or 5 columns. I'll just duplicate it in like 5 places. 4, 5. Yes. So this is going to be my let's say description. This would be the dates. Yeah, that would be the dates. This would be the amount, and this would be the status. Awesome. Yeah, but I don't want it to be center aligned. It has to be left aligned. So all the all the cells or auto layout at the top are going to be left aligned. Yes, exactly. So the next thing I do now is I'll highlight everything together and make them one single auto layout, shift A. Yes. So then don't forget your description has to be longer than the rest, of course. So the description, I could add more width to it and make it like 200 by width. And this one should also be left aligned. Yes. The second cells too should also be left aligned. All left aligned. Yes. Please take note of that. So this is the first, or let's call it the foundation of creating your table right? So secondly is that I want my rows. Now columns are vertical while rows are horizontal. I want my rows. Now I've set a distinction between my header and my body. My header has a subtle blue background, but my body has a white background. But I still need a kind of demarcator for my body, right? Because if I should duplicate this second row now, Control D, you can see that there is no demarcator between them and everything just blends together, which is not supposed to be. So what am I supposed to do? You select the second row, and we are going to add we are going to add a bottom stroke to it. So I'll click here and I'm going to use my gray color for the outline, then change the outline to bottom. And I love my demarcator being very, very subtle, so I'll drop this to 0.5 and also reduce the opacity to 20, so making it very subtle. You guys can see I have a very subtle demarcator between that, and because I have my spacing as a 0, all those demarcators are joining together and you can't know that they are different columns all joined together with auto layout. Awesome. So what I'll do is I'll use this to I'm going to use this cell now to replace all these ones at the bottom, or better still, just duplicate it, because the last one doesn't need the demarcator, right? The last one on the table doesn't need the demarcator. So I'm just going to keep duplicating this, but before I duplicate, I'm going to put my information inside. So let's say my transaction title is let's say Jelly Ajao, which is my name. So let's say that's the person you sent the money to. The description, you can see balance of your school fee. The date, let's say 17th June 25, and the amount, let's say 20,500. The status, let's use successful. So my status now, I would like to use a color to depict my status. So since it is successful, I'll use the green color and I'll take it back to 100%. Yes. So I'm done with the first row of my table now. So what I do next is I'm just going to use this to replicate this. So I'll just copy the text inside here, hold your control key to select whatever is inside an auto layout, to bypass the auto layout. Instead of clicking and clicking, just click directly on that element. So I'll copy it, Control C, and I'll use it to replace this, Control Shift R, paste to replace. I'll do the same thing for this, Control Shift R, do the same thing for this, Control C, Control Shift R, same thing here, and the same thing here. So once I'm done, I can now start duplicating the second one. Remember, the second one is the one that has the demarcator. The last one doesn't have the demarcator, so that's going to be our last row for our table. So we keep duplicating all this, Control D, Control D, Control D, until you are satisfied with the rows you have for your table. So guys, this is a very simple table using auto layout. Then if you want to give it the corner radius, the curve edges, just click on the table as the O. Then you give it the corner radius here. Let's give it like 16. But in case after giving it the corner radius it's still not giving you that curve edges, that's because you are not clipping your content. So clip content means that you don't want anything outside that auto layout to show, but now the edges are still outside the auto layout even after giving it the corner radius, and that's why they are showing the sharp edges. So I'll just click on the table and clip the content. Once I clip the content, the edges becomes curved. You guys can see it now. So now I have my table which I created using auto layout. And one more thing, someone asked me, so how do I populate my table or my designs in Figma? It's very, very easy. I'm also going to use this opportunity to introduce you to this very, very good and resourceful um plugin. I've been using this plugin ever since I started designing, I promise you, and it's very, very resourceful. And the plugin is Content Reel. You can use Content Reel to generate dummy text and dummy information for your designs just to make it look more real. So how do we do that? I'm going to select this information using my control key. After selecting the first one, now hold your control and your shift key simultaneously. I mean, hold them together to select the rest of that information. Then use your control forward slash to open this dialog box. Come to plugins and widgets and use content view. Content view. Yes, this is the plugin here, content view. So inside content view, you can see different names, different dates, different pictures, and what have you. So I'm just going to come to full name here and I'll just click on apply. So it's going to give me different random names. Yeah, but you guys can see that a name here is a bit longer than my cell or my column. So what do? I can just click on the column as a whole and just increase the width from 120 to like 160. And just like that, you guys can see that my table is now responsive. So whichever table I just expand the width, it applies to every cell inside that column. And if you click on this, I just bring it back now. So I'm going to tap my enter key and make all the inputs inside, I'll make them fill content. So like this now, click outside, click on table. You guys can see that the table is responsive. It keeps expanding as you expand or reduce your table size. That's how to make your table responsive, right? So this table is responsive now. But for this tutorial now, I don't want my date to have the same width as my description because the date is a smaller or a slimmer information, and my status the same thing as my amount too. So I'm going to make my amount a fixed width of, let's say, 100. I'll make my status also a fixed width of, let's say, 120 or 100 too. My date would also go back to 100, or 100 is too small, let's use 120. My description is good as fill. My title, I can drop it to 140. Yes, that's awesome. So now I have my responsive table here. So I also need a kind of outline to demarcate where my table is stopping so it doesn't flush with the background. So what do? I just click on the table as a whole and I'm going to add a stroke. Excuse me, I'm going to add a stroke of gray, drop it to 0.5, splash it here and drop it to 20% also. And just like that, you have your table created with auto layout. Let me know if this is helpful in the comment section, and also let me know whatever you like me to teach you next. Thank you for watching.